So, trading tip of the week. Uh, do not try and trade too many products at once. This is more aimed at if you're at the beginning or early stages of your trading career. And trust me, it's much better to master them one at a time. You can always add more once you've done that, but slowly but surely. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So first, before you're trading live, practice with all those asset classes on a demo to identify which of the asset classes works best for you. And, what pace of market, slow, medium, or fast. And again, all of this is really important, because it's got to match your personality. And if you keep a journal and you analyze each of those, then you can work out which one does work best for you. And of course, look at how many winners you've had. Have you met your risk reward? So, we always analyze the markets. We should also analyze ourselves and our performance to see where we can improve. So I'm now going to move on to technical analysis. Just going to go through a few products just to give you a little bit of insight into what I see in the markets happening. And of course, uh, again, to start for those that are new to these YouTubes, uh, right axis in there, the black numbers are support and resistance levels, just on the trend lines. Brown numbers are breakout, so if it's a resistance in there, but if it gets through there, then in my mind it's a breakout. The sort of ready claret numbers are what horizontal lines that I've managed where I think I found two or three tops or bottoms or where I see support or resistance. Of course, if the Fibonacci is on there, which this week there isn't, but again, we just got the traditional colours for them. So we're going to start with the Dow as usual. Now, again, I've got that downtrend line. Last week, the impact of the inflation data really rocked the stock markets. They fell very, very quickly. And on Friday, although they had a little close, a little, bit of support coming towards the end of Friday, a little bit of short covering possibly. Also, it was quadruple witching, which is, when the single stocks and futures and options go off and the index stocks and index futures and options go off as well. So that may have had a little bit to do with it. And when I studied this chart, I found some resistance levels and a couple of support levels. It's heading more towards the support levels at the moment. But, this week, if nothing major happens before Wednesday, then again, these levels could stay in play. So on the Dow, on the daily, I've got 32,672 as resistance. Below that, 32,404, and below that, 32,325. And then on the support side, I found 30,332 and 29,727. So that's the daily. And again, you can just look and see where I've taken them from. They're not perfect levels, most of them, but they're close and they're useful levels. But just be cautious with any level. Fundamentals drive these markets. We use the technicals to help us with our timing and try and help us to find opportunities. So on the 30-minute, obviously on Friday, we did have that slight recovery towards the end of the day. So you can see that on there. The pivot points are on there as well. Now, if you want the daily pivot points, then just subscribe to our daily newsletter. We add these fresh every day. So yeah, there was a little bit of profit taking, a little bit of bounce in front of the weekend. So resistance wise, I've got 31,387 and I've got 31,017 as resistance levels. Support, I've got 30,750 and 30,600. 12.44. And now we're just going to move on to the S&P. So again, as always, start with the daily. So here I've got 41.60 as a sell level, just rounding them up basically, and 40.70 with support at 38.46 and 37.44. So again, you know, if it breaks those, then we could see it test the 37.44. But you know, one thing to remember is I record some of this on Sunday evening, even though we post it early, very early on Monday mornings. So on the 30-minute for the S&P, resistance 39.28, and the support level, the other resistance level is 39.03. Again, just at the top of where we had that sort of short covering on Friday. And then support is 38.64 and 38.53. And as you can see from that, that S2 there, that the market rejected that constantly during the afternoon, which probably encouraged that final recovery late in the day. So, you know, these pivot points are great to use. Okay, so moving on to the Nasdaq. So, you know, stock markets are all pretty much following each other, just sometimes at different speeds. Again, here I've got sort of a resistance level, and I've got another horizontal one there. So resistance I can see at 12.891 and also 12.773, with support at 11.383 and 11.034. The supports I've just sort of found from a little bit earlier, where it's, you know, sort of a couple of months ago, 2-3 months ago, where it sort of had that rally from to test April, May's highs. And the 11.034 is just the previous low, roughly. You know, that's all I've taken that from. So just again, you know, as I always say, just be a little bit careful with some of these levels. Looking at the 30-minute. So with the 30-minute support levels, sorry, I'll do the resistance first. So the resistance on Nasdaq, 12.259 and 11.961. So again, just sort of it's found a resistance level there using Friday's final closing price there. And for the support, I've got 11.854 and also 11.778. So it's going to be an interesting week. And, you know, whatever happens Wednesday evening when FOMC comes out, the markets are sure to react once on the rate decision and on the press conference after that. Now, moving on to the Russell 2000. Here I've got resistance at 1924 and at 1910. And I've got support at 1789 and 1679. On the 30-minute, resistance at 1808 and support at 1791 and 1783. So just remember, the Russell is the smaller mid-cap stocks, and you know there's 2,000 of them in that index. Okay, so moving on, we're now going on to a couple of currencies. So the first one is pound against the dollar, also known as cable. Here, you know, it tried to recover midweek, especially. It was funny, but you know, when the data come out for inflation, it really sort of gave the dollar a little bit of a kick and pushed that down. And then, of course, over the rest of the week, it recovered and strengthened as the week went on. So for resistance on the pound, I have at 119.05. I don't really expect that to come into play. and also at 116.74 with support at 113.11. And you know, last week it did dip through 114. You know, you've got to go back years and years and years to sort of find these levels. You know, and again, okay, we've got a little bit more in the way going for the UK from the point of view that these price caps on power. But you know, you just can't kid yourself. The US is in such a strong position against the rest of the world at the moment economically. And you know, when we look at the 30-minute on there, I've got 115.41 as resistance and 114.57, so they're a bit closer. And I've got 114.18 and 113.75 as support. And if you look in that last hour, we ended up with 2 dojis there. So, you know, I just can't get carried away about wanting to buy the pound at the moment. Apart from anything else, I just see strength for the dollar just remaining. You know, that's not a buy recommendation. I've been bullish of the dollar for over 2.5 years. And I just can't see, when you analyze their economy versus the rest of the world, I just can't see how that's going to change this side of the end, you know, this year. But that doesn't mean it's going to go racing up anymore because it's already so strong. Now, with the euro against the dollar, the euro didn't fare too badly, I say. Resistance I've got at 103.14 and a lower resistance at 101.74 with support at 0.9921, so just a little bit under parity for that. And on the 30-minute, as you can see, you know, it came down sort of midday, and it was pushing through S1, but later on in the afternoon it was actually testing R1. So good move. Again, you know, obviously it depends how big your stops are to whether you could have weathered the buy side of that, but the sell side, it sort of didn't go that far through R1. And so the levels we've got on there, I've got resistance at 1.0104 and a lower resistance at 1.0082. Support 10059 and 10028. So it's just above parity. But again, you know, whatever happens with the Fed on Wednesday, we're going to see that have probably a reasonable move. The dollar as well as the stocks, basically everything's going to have a move on their rate decision. Okay, so on to Bitcoin. I keep this level on there. You know, it is a bit high, but you just never know with Bitcoin anyway. But and again, this one's in brown because it would be a breakout level if it could get above that 27,305. But obviously, that's a massive ask for the moment. And then when we drop down, we've got 25,220. Below that, we've got 22,445. A bit of pressure on there towards the end of the week, and the support is 18,440 and 17,585. Moving on to the 30 minutes, and here just got a couple of resistance levels and support level. So resistance 20,180. And below that 19,707, where we've got that downtrend which comes from quite a way back, so that's quite a good line, and support at 19,251. Again, not bad levels, those ones, but of course let's wait and see. As you know by now, if you've been watching these, I do like to put the Bitcoin Nasdaq comparison in, and it's still continuing to track, as you can see. You know, it's as I say, it's not tick for tick or pip for pip, but overall the trend is just remaining there. So it just gives you a little bit of an idea. So, you know, whatever you expect Nasdaq to do, because that's the driver from that point of view. When Nasdaq goes up, Bitcoin goes up a bit, probably not quite as aggressively. But then when Nasdaq comes down, it seems to drag Bitcoin down a bit easier. So maybe that gives you a little bit of a telltale. Moving on to gold. Gold didn't have a very good week, under quite a bit of pressure. So got resistance at 1760 and 1723, support all the way down at 1650. And then when we look at the 30-minute, resistance at 1717, 1687 and 1685, just on those downtrend lines I've put in there. Support 1666 and 1656. So they're quite tight. Again, you know, it's looking a little bit bearish at the moment. I can't get too bearish of gold, just because if stocks are really going to come off, then I would expect that gold will recover. But that's just because I see that as an inverse relationship when it's working properly of risk on, risk off. But again, just remember, that's just my view. Okay, and finally moving on to WTI. It had a bit of a mixed week. It started to come off and then found some support and had a bounce, and then sort of just closed probably mid-range on the week. So I've got resistance at 94.83, resistance at 92.34, resistance at 90.42. Support levels I can see as 84.26, 81.58, which is my level. It's just an area where I feel that the market's probably going to sort of just hold at the moment. So just remember, that's my personal level. And then another technical level at 79.79. Now, you know, one of the reasons for me is around about $80. It's expected that the US will come in and replace the strategic reserves, or start to replace the strategic reserves that it sold out at higher levels, where it was trying to stop oil from going too high a bit earlier in the year. And finally, the WTI on a 30-minute. So I've got resistance at 90.42, resistance at 88.68 and at 85.75. And I've got support at 83.64 and 81.58. You know, there's not too much data this week, so a lot of it's going to be pretty much based on everyone waiting to see what the Fed's going to do on Wednesday. But, you know, there are those other central banks as well. We've got two out in Asia, and of course we've got the Bank of England on Thursday, where it was postponed from last week, as I mentioned, because of the Queen's death. So again, you know, with Bank of England, we should expect rates to go up. It's just a matter of how much, because they're a little bit more sensitive about the delicate condition of the economy. Now, just finishing off as usual, just with a little bit of insight into what we do as a company. So we have our daily newsletter, which goes straight into your inbox each morning, and we include in that global news. So we've got the headlines, global news, my views are in there, and we have the fresh daily chart levels with the fresh daily pivot points as well. Now, if you are interested in improving your skills or actually getting into trading, then we do one-day workshops where we can just sort of help you in certain areas where you feel you could improve. We do 1 week courses to take people pretty much from zero to hero. By the end of that week, you will feel comfortable with a deeper understanding of trading. That is theory in the morning, in the afternoons, it's practical sessions. And then, of course, we have our masterclass, which is 4 weeks of guided learning. But those 4 weeks can be broken up. You know, this is our flagship course. This is the one that most people are attracted to because it gives such a deep dive into the fundamentals. Plus, of course, you know, 4 weeks you get to spend 20 afternoons with me where we're trading together. I keep sort of giving you some advice. You're telling me what you're doing, and there's loads and loads of interaction as well as with each other. So it's really good fun. But, you know, it's a great way to accelerate your learning process for sure. And of course, we cover all the asset classes. Now, trader mentoring of, you know, if you're already trading and you just want to improve, I can do 1 hour, half a day with you, or you can do a monthly subscription. We consult to many companies to help them with their hedging because they've got maybe raw materials or FX that they need to manage properly. So we build sort of very flexible hedging tools for them. And then we provide a lot of trader education content to exchanges and brokers. If you'd like to know more about anything that we do or that's coming up, because we've got some great new stuff coming up soon, then you should contact us at info@cymexfintech.com. And as usual, if you've got anything that you would like to ask me as a question around trading, feel free to reach out to me. So my email is chris.tubby@cymex-int.com. And I look forward to hearing from you guys. I look forward to seeing you next week. And have a great week with your trading. You know, just remember, the focus is going to be on Wednesday evening when the US releases the FOMC decision on rates. And of course, 30 minutes after that, when they start their press conference, which provides lots of little opportunities if you're that way inclined with your trading. Anyway, have a great week. Hope to see you next week. Take care. Bye for now.